Good evening, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Good morning. How you doing? ¿Qué tal, Antonio? ¿Todo bien?
Todo genial. Can you hear me, by the way? Because my Twitter Spaces is not showing any.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
I can
Okay.
hear you as well. Can't believe it's been a month since we last spoke. And what a month.
Just a little bit's happened, right?
Yeah, only a couple of things.
A month is a year.
Right, we'll give it a couple of minutes. Make sure we get everybody in here because it's going to be a
Hi,
very
Gregory.
exciting hour.
How's the weather in Massinger?
I think it was cold last time I heard, but Messenger cold is London warm.
Oh, it's been freezing for the last few days, Mike. It really has.
What is freezing? The temperature at nighttime is.
Well, it got down to about 14 degrees, which may not sound very cold, but when you're used to 45, it's very cold.
It's a big
That's
drop.
Celsius, just to be clear, right?
Oh, yeah, that's Celsius.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't do Fahrenheit, I'm afraid. I may have to learn.
Okay, give it another minute. Last time we caught up, most of us were in Vegas. It's a magical experience, not just for the David Copperfield event that myself and a couple of Earth node operators managed to take in. Clover,
James
to
told
you.
everybody how all the tricks are done because he worked them out.
There was a couple that, had us scratching our heads a bit. I see Clover's reaction. It's Robin here as well. Right, I think we're gonna get into it. It's going to be a power hour tonight. Few of the team have got a number of meetings that we need to attend after this space, but it's going to be fewer, bigger, better. We're going to focus on some of the key developments over the last few weeks, and yeah, we were kidding a little bit, saying it's not much has happened, but I do want to take a moment and just reflect on exactly what has happened since we last spoke. Because we have launched an Aerostat, expanded the World Mobile Network to a whole new country and a continent, and we've launched an eSIM. This is no mean feat. I mean, who else is doing this at the moment? I'm Blake-Crawford. I'm the marketing director at World Mobile, responsible for all things community and communications. Who else have we got in attendance this evening? I'll hand over to Micky.
Hello, everybody. I'm Micky Watkins, also known as Mr. Telecom, founder and CEO of World Mobile. Handing over to co-founder James Tagg.
Hi, I'm Chief Architect. I've been doing mobile for 25 plus years, all over the world. And have a technical background, as many of you know, in quantum mechanics and fun things like that.
Antonio Hernandez.
Some things like that, quantum mechanics, like it was no big feat. So
no one
I'm Antonio
Hernandez.
They say that if you think that you understand quantum mechanics, then you don't, right?
That's right. That's Feynman. Yeah, spot on.
So I'm Antonio Hernandez. I'm CTO and co-founder, and always happy to be here with all of you, like every month.
Gregory Gottlieb.
Gregory,
Clearly, he's
can you
not on
hear
a
us?
world mobile network.
Okay, we'll wait for Gregory, but we'll get straight into it. And as a starting place, I mean, where better to start than Mozambique? What an incredible moment it was. We teased it last time out. A few people thought it was going to be in Angola. There was a bit of trickery done with license plates and a few red herrings thrown from various different channels, but it was certainly in Mozambique, in Masinja, an Aerostat launch. Micky, how long was it in the planning?
We had a lot of, I mean, we have a lot of countries that are waiting for an Aerostat and waiting for us to come. Mozambique was in the planning around 6 months ago, due to us not being able to succeed with the Zanzibar regulation. And there was quite a lot of planning. But around 6 months ago, and over the last 2-3 months, we've executed.
And what an execution. Hopefully, all of you have seen some of the videos that have been coming from the team over in Mozambique. If not, make sure you head over to our Twitter X profile to catch up on all the happenings on the ground. And on the ground, we do have Gregory. Are you back with us?
I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm finding it very difficult to hear
we
you.
can hear you loud and clear.
Oh,
So
good, because I
Gregory,
can't. Yeah.
how many people have been involved in the launch so far?
Well, we've had some people who've come for a few weeks and then gone, and other people have come along. But altogether, we've had about 25 people involved from the very outset. Some of them engineering team members, some of them Aerostat operators, a couple of different flight directors have been involved because we wanted to make sure that we got this right. And we've had an expert team who've come here from literally all over the world to make this happen. It is a first, and we wanted to make sure we get it right, so we've got the best people working on it. Up to about 25 altogether.
Fantastic. And I understand that the Aerostat that we have launched there is a new model. So what's different about it? And I guess one question is what altitude can it reach? Because I think it's slightly different to what we've used before.
Yes, that's right. It's different to the ones we've been testing and trialing in the US. It's actually a more conventional design in that it has a single tether, and that tether provides power and data in both directions. Power in one direction, data in both directions. And it's called a Skyguard 850, and it is about 750 cubic meters in volume, about 23 meters long. And it's designed to carry a payload of up to about 130 kilograms to about 3,200 feet, or about 1,000 meters. We're not using it to that altitude here at the moment. We're only going to be operating up to about 300 meters, about 1,000 feet, and we're carrying a slightly less heavy payload, which means we don't have to use quite as much helium because we don't need quite so much lift. But as at the moment, I'm at the accommodation now, not at the operating site. But the last time I was at the operating site, we had excess lift of about 160 kilograms, which is quite a good excess lift figure for an Aerostat in this class. So it's quite a capable beast, quite chunky, and it's behaving very well at the moment.
Chunky beast. That's something to consider. How many tanks of helium did it take to fill it? Actually, that's a question that I've had for a while.
Well, no tanks of helium. We don't use tanks. We use cylinders. Each cylinder of helium holds about 10 cubic meters. And the initial helium fill during the inflation was about 64 cylinders to about 640 cubic meters of gas. It was quite a warm day when that happened. The following day, as is quite normal, we put a bit more helium in. And as we've allowed the Aerostat to settle, which happens over a period of about a week, we've put a little bit more helium in. So far, we've consumed just under 80 bottles of helium altogether. which are now sitting inside the Aerostat, and we've got the ballonnet configured correctly. That's the airbag inside the helium space that pressurizes the system so that it can operate to the altitudes we want to operate at. And so now we're just going to be ticking over with a few bottles every couple of weeks to compensate for the natural leakage of helium, which happens in every aerostat.
I understand that the payload is all fully connected now and has been tested, connected to the grounds.
And indeed, yeah, but not even just close to the ground. I mean, we connected the antennas. We had to design a special mount for the antennas because they're a bit bigger than we are anticipating, and the aerostat sits a little lower than we had originally thought it would, which is a normal sort of configuration management issue in installing and integrating payloads onto aerostats. So we've done that. That's all working beautifully. We used a temporary power solution initially to make sure that the whole system worked end to end, and it does. So we launched the Aerostat last week to 100 meters, 300 feet, and we made a first batch of telephone calls using the cell on the Aerostat. That was a world first. And we made those calls. We recorded the event. But at that stage, it was a temporary power solution. We've had a few days of really bad weather here, so we were held up from installing the permanent solution, but we're going to be finishing that over the next day or so. And then once that's finished, we'll be putting the Aerostat up for data gathering, initially at about 100 meters for a few days, and then up to 300 meters for an extended period so that we can gather all of the data that we require on performance, range, capacity, and so on. We need to check for interference with other cells. And, you know, we're not far from the border with South Africa, so we need to be a little bit careful about cross-border propagation and things like that. And then we've got all plans in place to cover those aspects of the tests and the trials. We'll gather all the data, and that will help us to plan how we're going to configure our systems moving forwards.
Incredible. What's your experience been like in Messenger, and what's it like in the village where you've been staying and spending a lot of time over the last few weeks?
Yes, it's an interesting part of Africa. I've been in lots of different parts of Africa. This is about as rural as I have ever been. We're on the Elephant River, which is a tributary of the Limpopo River. It's dark at the moment, but I would be looking over the Massanger Dam right now, which is a massive lake. So the seafood here is fantastic. The chicken is not quite so fantastic. There are no restaurants to go to. We are fed in our accommodation, and we take food out to the site, which is about a 40-minute drive down a dirt track, which gets very waterlogged when it rains. It's real field operations out here. You can't go to a shop and buy an extension cable. You can't go to a shop and buy a tool if you're missing it. The nearest shops to buy proper, working supplies are in Maputo, the capital, about 6 hours drive away. So you have to pre-plan everything and make sure you've got everything you need on site, and then things will run smoothly. But in this part of Mozambique, everything takes a little bit longer than you want it to. And at the same time, we're also having to deal with a wide variety of different weather conditions. I mentioned the rain. When it has been raining, it gets very difficult to move around. But it's a beautiful part of the world. Some of our team members have stumbled into groups of elephants. We've seen monkeys. We've seen buffalo. We've seen all sorts of different types of gazelle. It's really an interesting place to be. It's great fun being here.
Incredible. And Micky, what's the objective of the Aerostat launch in Mozambique then? What was kind of behind it all?
Number one objective, to make sure that when people said when Aerostat, it was up. So this is this is the joke objective, but the real objective was to be the first, to show that we could launch, to choose a very difficult environment to work in, to get data sets, and to really show the world what we can do with a commercial aerostat, and we're achieving those.
Incredible. And Gregory, what's the reception been like on the ground in Mozambique? What are locals thinking of what's been happening? I've seen some of the photos of, families and people coming out, taking photos and videos. What's the reception been like?
It has been incredible, and it's been a wonderful thing because, I mean, if we were doing this in Europe or North America, all we have surrounding our perimeter is some fence posts and red and white tape, and nothing else. And in Europe or North America, nobody would pay much attention to that tape. They'd cross it, they'd walk up to the Aerostat and start prodding and poking. At least that's been my experience. Here, to my absolute amazement, not a single person has crossed the tape since we arrived. They have all come to watch all the villages. There are a few hundred people living in the village. People have come from many other villages walking distance away. The buses here aren't buses in the rural areas. It's a pickup truck with about 20 people standing up in the back of the pickup truck. And they've come to see us working the Aerostat from villages all around in these pickup trucks. We've actually been watching the locals playing football with rag balls. So on one of our supply trips to Maputo, we bought a couple of real footballs and gave them to the local children. Unfortunately, we couldn't get any full of footballs, but we might try and do that later. In the meantime, though, we gave them whatever footballs we could, and they really appreciate it. We're very welcome in the village. The school teachers have come out to see us with their classes. Village chief is actually helping us with site security. It's been a fantastic example of involving the local community in what we're doing. We've built some new facilities for them as well to help with their sanitation. And we're actually on Friday, we're starting a cadre of new employees from the local area who are going to come and be trained as Aerostat operators. And so we're very excited about that.
That's amazing.
It's incredible to hear the impact that this project is having. Micky, is this project been undertaken with much input from the regulators?
They've been a dream. They've been exactly how we thought regulators will accept this and support us to make this happen. At the end of the day, a regulator's job is to connect his people, the people on the ground. And as we know, sub-Saharan Africa, there's a lot of people unconnected. So from the flight authority and the telecom regulator, very close partnerships, collaborations, and we've been really happy.
And moving forward, what are the plans for the Aerostat in Mozambique? And are we going to see air nodes on the ground joining it?
Yes, moving forward, the beautiful thing about an Aerostat is you can move it. So we're going to get our data sets here, see that we see what we like, and then probably make it a permanent deployment in this area. Air nodes on the ground will be built to support, and over time they'll be added to the sharing economy.
Incredible. And where next for Aerostats?
Well, I said, I made a joke about when Aerostat, but our commitment to deliver for our community and for the world that are unconnected, whether that's in urban areas, underserved areas, or completely rural areas, we're expecting to see a lot of Aerostats that pop up. But we have maybe 13, 14 different countries that have shown interest, 4 or 5 that are really quite serious about their interest. And we're a 100-man team. We're running everything that we possibly can, and you've got to get it right. So we're working with a new type of Aerostat here. We're very not new for Gregory, but new for World Mobile, and we'll get our data sets, and then we'll move on to the next Aerostat, and then the same, move on to the next Aerostat, and eventually, everywhere you look up in the sky, you'll see an Aerostat. Exciting
times, and note to the community: if you're interested to see more. And learn more about this experience in Mozambique and the work that's been happening. We're very close to sending the invites to the BTS Bringing Telecoms to the Skies event. So just to give you an overview of what's going to be happening with that, we're going to introduce the Aerostat crew and the World Mobile colleagues who've been working to deliver this record-breaking launch in Mozambique. You'll have an opportunity to go behind the scenes. We've got loads of exclusive footage of the journey to Messenger, interviews with people on the ground and people that have made this happen. And then the kind of key moment, we're going to do a countdown and you'll get to witness the launch happen the moment that it happened. Before we open for an AMA at the end. So really looking forward to sharing that with you. And as I say, the invites will be going out in the next week or so. So keep a lookout in your inboxes for that. Conscious of time, just a reminder that it is a power hour this evening. So keen to move on. And we're going to focus on the key developments from the last few weeks. And after the Aerostat launch in Mozambique, it's got to be the expansion to Pakistan. Micky, a whole new world. We're live in a new continent, a new country. How long has the network in Pakistan been operational?
Testing and trialing around 4 months, really as a network in its full glory. The last 2 to 4 weeks, it's really taken shape with approximately 300 nodes running. Mostly in a town called Wapada in Lahore.
Exciting. And this deployment is taking place in partnership with WorldCall, who I think some of the more Sherlock Holmes-esque members of the community did a bit of digging and found press releases dating back a good few years detailing the partnership. So it has been something that's been in the planning for a long time. Can you tell us a little bit more about the partnership, Micky?
WorldCall are a very cool company, very forward-thinking and innovative. They have a fiber backbone across the whole of the country. So a great partner for us. We've met with them several times over the last few years. They're very serious about delivering a sharing economy, and the partnership is super strong. The most beautiful thing about this partnership is that World Mobile doesn't have a single member of staff or truck or even equipment on the grounds in Pakistan, and that's testament to the sharing economy and how it can be picked up by other backhaul providers that can then deploy.
So with that, I think we explained in the launch blog that the air nodes in use in Pakistan, they're very different to those in Zanzibar. What can you tell us about this? How do they differ? What do they look like? And how do they work?
Yeah, so WorldCall have developed, with some support from our team, but very little, have developed these ONT devices that already plug into their backhaul, into their existing fiber network. And then these ONT devices then broadcast connectivity, not only for the person in the house, but the people outside on the street. In some cases, it's 25 meters reach. In other cases, it's a 75-meter reach. But then all of the people in that neighborhood can really run on a sharing economy with a good basis, and having the WorldCall and WorldCall customers host these air nodes in their houses on their existing connections.
Incredible. And going back to what you said before, you talked about the fact that we didn't need any trucks on the ground or engineers. What does this mean for the sharing economy, Alan? How does this impact our rollout? And
yeah,
I guess,
the
next
great thing. Yeah, the great thing is that working with local partners, it means that the scalability is much greater. Yeah. The fact that it's not World Mobile having to recruit a team and get set up in the country, this is where you can look at multiple country rollouts at the same time. So, working with people like WorldCall to provide that local expertise and delivery to the end user really speeds up the whole installation process. So yeah, what it means for the sharing economy is that rapid scalability in multiple territories at the same time, and not having to take a country by country approach.
Okay, and at the moment, who's using the network? Who are the customers in Pakistan?
The people on the street, the people that are looking for connectivity, see the connectivity, connect to it via the captive portal, or a beta application that actually WorldCall are running as well, that plugs into the World Mobile application or takes from the World Mobile app SDK. And it's just normal people, consumers. We've got a lot of requests for businesses as well. that want to be able to propagate B to B to C, the same model as we have in Zanzibar, and that's starting to roll out as well.
It's fascinating. I was speaking to one of the team who's been working on the project, and he was saying that I think something like 70% of the bandwidth is currently used for primarily social networking, YouTube, Facebook, all that kind of stuff, which is interesting because I remember when I was in Zanzibar, it was the same thing. It's, so many people are just really using the network for its speed and capacity for things like social video, etc. And Alan, how are they connecting to the network at the moment?
Well, similar to Zanzibar, where you have both the captive portal. I mean, that's the primary use at the moment for the beta users, but soon they'll also be able to access via the app. So yeah, it's going to be consistent user experience in different countries.
Incredible. And are all of the current users paying users, or do we have a free bundle available like we had in Zanzibar in the early days?
So yeah, I mean, it's again working with the local partners with defining the packages and the way it's sold. It's going through an iterative process of trying different things at the moment, and that's going to expand as more users come on board. We'll add additional packages, and it's going very well.
Micky, when will the revenue from Pakistan start to show on WMT scan? Is it going to go into the top 10 air nodes by revenue? Will we see that?
Some of them are smashing the air nodes by revenue right now. We can see that information, but WMT scan will go through a very big update over the coming months. But as our priorities are now to release Operation Air Node and the rest of the things that are in our queue, we are not going to upgrade until we have the resource or the capacity to do that without delaying anything else. So over the next couple of months or so, WMT scan will become far more interactive, I should say, where anybody is going to be able to see any kind of data they want and click through different sections to be able to understand what type of air node, what the throughput of that air node is, where the location of that air node is, for them to be able to assess what's going on in the network just out of interest, but also what the kind of population density and profitability of those areas are. So just patience, please, a little bit. And once WMT scan is live, everyone will be able to go and find the answers to their own questions.
Can't wait. Really looking forward to seeing that come to life. And Alan, will the network be integrated into Aya, and are the users currently getting DIDs?
So yeah, the second question first. Yes, everybody that registers, gets a DID allocated. That's all. One of the key things with joining the World Mobile Networking Services is that every user automatically will have a DID assigned. The other question, be integrated into Aya, absolutely. I mean, this is, anything that comes on board on the sharing economy is going to utilize the World Mobile Aya chain for its core blockchain network services.
Okay, we had one question on Pakistan that came from the community prior to tonight, and that was just around the partner. And is WorldCall only an internet provider, or do they have cellular provisioning as well? And if only internet, do we have plans to cover the cellular side of things?
WorldCall are very well connected in Pakistan. We have aspirations to offer cellular everywhere we go. We know the benefits of Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi has got huge throughput, but the range isn't as good as we would like it to be. So you're limited to how many people you connect. In dense urban areas with low connectivity or very expensive costs, it's perfect. So currently in this deployment, it's a perfect solution. But what happens when someone leaves this deployment? So just like the USA is cellular, we plan to be cellular everywhere that the sharing economy is running. But some places will come faster and some places will take longer, depending on the deals that we can get, the partnerships that we make, and what available spectrum there is in the marketplaces at that time. But the answer is yes, eventually Pakistan will be cellular as well.
Exciting times. You mentioned the sharing economy there, Micky. I think it's time that we lifted some embargoes. Can I get a drum roll, please, Zach?
The drum roll for the drum roll.
Oh. Okay. So, mobilers, if you've not got your browsers open, I suggest now is the time just to open Chrome, Brave, Edge, whatever it is, Firefox that you're using at the moment. And I would invite you to enter the URL airnode.worldmobile.io. Failing that, head over to Twitter where you can see a very important announcement. And I'm delighted to say that we have unveiled our public beta launch of the highly anticipated AirNode sales platform. So to cover what this is, we're inviting you, our community, to explore the platform, share valuable feedback, and build anticipation ahead of the opening of our whitelist. So we have been collecting emails over the past few months. I'm not sure how many of you have signed up to that, but if you haven't still signed up to the whitelist, make sure that you head over to the AirNode website. There is a link on there for people that haven't registered, because in the next few days, we're going to be opening that whitelist and giving registrants a chance, a 48-hour window to purchase one of the first AirNodes from the batch of 50. So head over to the platform. What you'll see when you get there is a breakdown of how it works. Effectively, we have a interactive map explorer, which allows you to find an available location, reserve your location, and then go through to purchase an AirNode, which will reserve your location there. And then we'll guide you through the installation process, get you set up, and get you ready to earn a passive income. Micky, we've talked about Operation AirNode for a very long time. To remind everyone and educate those new to World Mobile, what is it? What's going on? What are we starting here?
What's the problem? The problem is there's nearly 3 billion people on the planet that are actually unconnected. That's almost half the planet. There's a lot of people on this planet, and I'm pretty sure almost every single one of us on this call is underserved. We drive past a location and we tell our friends whilst we're in the car, oh, hold on, I'm in bad signal, give me 20 seconds, give me 10 seconds. Oh, can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, you can hear me, great. And you're back into connection. So companies like Facebook, Microsoft, Google have all tried to connect the unconnected. There are 850 mobile network operators in this world that are trying to get more customers on so they can get more revenue through their systems and worth billions, tens of billions, trillions of dollars. It's $1 trillion market. We don't think anybody can do this alone. So Operation AirNode is part of the sharing economy, the part that kickstarts the placement of nodes around the world that allow us to build a network run by the people for the people. So Operation AirNode is everything. It's the gateway to the revenue, to the money flowing into World Mobile. It's the place where people, whether they hold our SIM card or they run on a partner network, connect and utilize their data, voice calls, SMS, whatever it may be. Operation AirNode is the new economic model.
So how are we approaching things, Micky? What is our approach to solving this problem?
Well, there's two categories of this problem. One is, hey, shit, I've got a farm. I live here. I have no connectivity beyond the Wi-Fi in my house. And when I leave 25 meters, 30, 40 meters away, I can no longer be connected. Or I have a farm, I have workers, they have cell phones. Their cell phones are useless. I have to have radios in the field in order to have connectivity. So we call that problem, I want to fix my own problem. So that's one thing. If you want to fix your own problem, World Mobile can support you to fix your own problem. But the second thing is generating revenue. by fixing the Swiss cheese and the rural connectivity problem. So we're approaching it by building dense networks where a lot of this holes in connectivity exists, by focusing on certain areas. And we'll be focusing, for example, in our FCC marketplaces, which are Nevada, Utah, Mexico, and California, where we can use our Band 71 and our CBRS infrastructure. But we'll also be focusing on places like Disneyland, the Mexico border, Lake Tahoe, and multiple other places where we can deploy dense clusters of networks that not only give good service to world mobile customers, but also provide other mobile network operators to give good service to their customers, whilst our air node operators and our earth node operators get paid from the sharing economy. So the approach is a very pragmatic approach, and Reno will be the place that we start first.
Incredible. And how can people get involved? Like, what are the ways that people can be part of this sharing economy?
Right. You can scream and shout loud that it's not right that people are not connected to the internet. It's a human right for us to be connected. So that's the first and most important part, education. The second part is you can be an earth node operator. An earth node operator, it runs the core of our network. Every transaction, every call, every message, every request is sent into the earth nodes, and they act as our functional core that otherwise a big telco may have in a huge data center centralized, where ours is distributed, and can give us some fantastic results, we believe, to connect the billion people that we're trying to connect. The next part is you can operate an air node either locally or remotely. The next part is you can be a host. You don't want to buy the infrastructure, but you have the roof, you have capabilities to get yourself a business grade or quality internet connection. You know how to manage the process of having an engineer and installer turn up at the house. You open the door for them, they put it on the roof, and then you share with the remote or local operator the revenue that runs through there. But there's other ways as well. The other ways are you can be an affiliate. So you can sell, if you're a good marketer, you can sell the hardware. You can sell links to the hardware. You can sell SIM cards. You can do many different things. So we've made a partner program where there'll be some announcements on that next week. And we've also made a very good, I would say, almost franchise model for anybody who actually wants to run a zone for themselves and be responsible, earn part of the revenue and help them manage that zone and follow some commitments that we put in place, then they can be a franchisee owner.
And James, why is this model needed?
Well, I think that the large operators can't economically solve this problem. So, I mean, if you remember last month, I attempted to pick up my children from school during this Twitter Spaces, was a complete disaster. And the problem is, of course, that when I leave my home, I have no cellular connection for the beginning of my trip. Then there are patches all the way to my kid's school, and then the queue to pick up my kid's school is a cellular dead spot. The problem is my home patch is only 5 houses long. That doesn't work. And my kid's school is only the length of the queue, another 100 yards down the road, and it works. So the problem is you've got these lots of these little, and this is the Swiss cheese problem, you've got lots of these little holes all over the network. There's no way that a big mobile operator can put a $2 million 4-year planning and installation antenna mast at the end of my road to cover me. It's economically not doable. It's just not doable. So there are things that the community can do to solve the coverage problem that mobile operators can't afford to do. And then obviously when you go rural, you might only be trying to solve the problem for a few hundred people in your local community. And again, you can't persuade a big cellular operator to do the heavy lift of putting a tower in. And maybe you don't want a big tower. You know, you want to just hide a few things on people's rooftops and get coverage. So I think there are things that we can do to solve the coverage problem, the lack of connectivity, that are just possible for the community to do and not really possible for big corporates to do.
And we're launching in Reno, Nevada. That's going to be the first zone that we're looking to roll out in. It's a World Mobile Spectrum area. We're going to come on to that shortly, the difference between World Mobile Spectrum and CBRS. It has a growing population, around 500,000 people in the metro area currently, but it does have significant challenges with connectivity, as James has mentioned there, the Swiss cheese problem, the issues with those gaps. And it's my understanding as well that we've actually been scanning around Reno for some time now using scan for points. That's correct, isn't it, James?
Yeah, that's right. We got a, I think, an Amazon driver or something or a UPS driver just to stick it in his car and just see what happened. And we found just tons of holes. They're all quite small. Actually, some of them are quite large, but it's a very Swiss cheese area.
Okay, and one thing that we're striving for with our rollout is this concept of delivering meaningful coverage. What is meaningful coverage, James?
Well, we want a coverage that actually is contiguous, so that someone comes onto our network and they stay on our network for a good period of time. We don't want something that just flips you backwards and forwards between a big network and a small network sort of every 100 yards. So if we're going to fill the Swiss cheese in, we fill in the holes properly. And certainly with our network, where we have the benefit of the World Mobile Spectrum, the Band 71, we can also provide an overwatch. So we're managing your experience all the time.
Okay, and Alan, how many air nodes will be in the first batch?
I think you already told everybody, but I'll I'm going to give a bit more detail.
Yeah, so what's the breakdown of those?
There's 50. Yes, 50 nodes. The initial batch is made up of 5 of the Band 71, which gives us the long-range coverage, which James is talking about, and then 45 of the CBRS nodes, which give the infill dense coverage. Now, I think one thing that we want to be very clear on is that, there's no point in building a network like other people, which will remain nameless, with a bunch of cheap hardware that doesn't go very far and doesn't solve a proper coverage issue. So you have to start with some serious, proper mobile network kit. And that first batch happens to be a bit more expensive. But as we deploy and build up the coverage in different areas, then the range of equipment that's available to own and operate is going to be much broader, and the prices for some of the other units will be much lower. And also, if anybody fancies, buying a super air node Aerostat, then that's always an option.
Yeah, we can make you a good offer on one of those.
Yeah. So hopefully that answers the question.
It certainly does. And Micky, we've got different air node packages, the 2 CBRS packages and a World Mobile Spectrum package. What will the air node operators receive in these packages?
They receive all of the equipment to set up the air node. They'll have online advice and support from us to be able to find an engineer or an installer, or if they can do it themselves. That will be James on the end of the telephone. No, it will be a support team, but James will.
Well, there's a team.
Yeah, there's a team, but we'll be there to support as well as the co-founders, because we want this to work. And they'll be receiving 2 SIM cards for their air node, so that they can have coverage wherever they are close to their air nodes, free of use. And they'll be receiving up to 100 SIMs to sell, pass out, give to other people to work on our national network. Our network doesn't work just on our air nodes. It works across the whole of the United States of America on partner networks. But we're very focused on making sure that we give everything that everyone needs in their air node package. Again, I'd like to say what Alan said. Right now, you only see 2 pieces of hardware on there. But as early as next week or next month, there'll be more hardware that appears. This is for USA focus right now in Reno, but actually Pakistan, there's an appetite, we believe, with WorldCool, that they can deploy around 150,000 to 200,000 nodes over the next 12 to 24 months. Those nodes cost $100. with a ROI of around 18 months. So they can be sold in bundles or individually. We think that this sharing economy can cater for everybody. And the reason that you see what you see on the website today with the $8,000 node and $100,000 node is because that's what we want to focus on in Reno. But as Alan said, as the next batch comes out, you may see a $2,000 node or a $1,500 node. And you may even see, as James joked, a $1.5 to $2.5 million node, which is an Aerostat that we may want to put up, don't quote me, but in Utah as an example. So nobody should be worried or fixated with the prices that they see. And I know it all comes from good intention because everyone wants to be a part of the sharing economy. So we're making sure that that hardware is going to be available in our shop, in our marketplace, on Operation Airnode website, so that everyone can do their part and benefit, give, and earn from the sharing economy.
So, James, there's two types of spectrum that we're utilizing, and we are the only operator in the decentralized wireless space with licensed spectrum. Can you talk to us a bit about the differences between World Mobile Spectrum and CBRS?
Yeah, so World Mobile Spectrum is, well, actually anything that we have licensed or obtained. But at the moment, we've only obtained band 71. So band 71 used to be used for TV in America and was a digital dividend. So as TV digitized, it didn't need as much spectrum. And so the top third was auctioned off. And we bought in the secondary market or licensed in the secondary market a block of that spectrum. The advantage of that spectrum is you can transmit nearly as much power as you want on it. I think the actual legal limit is 1,000 watts, but we never get anywhere near there, like 100 watts or so. But it goes a very long range. So our record in Reno was about 17 kilometers. In principle, you could push it out much further if you picked a big mountain. The limit in Reno is Reno's a bowl. So you can put a big transmitter on the in middle of town and reach the whole of Reno. In fact, we have to down tilt our antennas so that we create, nice hexes of coverage that play nice with each other and then hand off between them. So that's the band 71 spectrum. CBRS is the old Citizens band spectrum, which again the government refarmed so that we can use it for cellular use. It's much higher in frequencies. It doesn't go as far, and because it's a sort of Citizens band type plan, it's less power. It's no longer used by Citizens band, but it got refarmed to use by the public, and we are the public. We are enabling the public to use this band to create a community-based wireless network, which is essentially the reason that it was created in the first place. It's 3.5 gigahertz. We can go about 1.5 miles with it. The hexes are about 0.7 of a mile across. So we're assuming that if you have a hex next to someone, you'll overlap each other very slightly. But we want that because we want that so that you can walk from one hex to the next and get a nice seamless coverage. So that's the earlier discussion about having a dense, high-quality network. So the hexes sizes are chosen so that you can walk across a CBRS-enabled hex map and get continuous coverage. So those are two spectrums.
Fascinating stuff. And our rollout approach is going to be phased. So the first phase is obviously focused on Reno. Future phases, however, will be looking at different areas. And I guess one element of these future phases that we're very excited to talk about is remote airnode operation. So, Micky, what's the latest developments with remote airnode operation?
We've got the go-ahead. We're doing it. The first beta version requires you to be a host in Reno and an operator in Reno. But we expect by the end of November, the beginning of December, for anybody anywhere in the world, except from blacklisted countries, of course, that can access the website to be able to put their credit card down and buy a node and then find a host, match with the host, and set up that node and remotely operate it. And like I said on the last question, these nodes, people will be able to buy either $100 node for Pakistan, as an example, or people will be able to buy a $2.5 million Super Air nodes, which is the Aerostat package. But anybody around the world will be able to own them, and we expect that to be in November, beginning of December at the latest.
And James, where are we going to roll out next?
Well, the simple answer is we'll expand from Reno inside the World Mobile Spectrum coverage. So Carson City and North Lake Tahoe would be next. I'd very much like to get something in our California area where we have the entrances to Sequoia National Park and Yosemite. That's mainly so I have somewhere nice to go on holiday next year. We want to expand and fill in our coverage. Now, the other answer to that question is, if you have a community that has a problem with coverage, then get together and make a plan to fill that in, talk to us, and we will help you plan that out. We have at least 2 of those that are in advanced stages of doing that right now, that will get some announcement fairly soon. And if you're in a position where, your valley, your town, your whatever, your community neighborhood has no coverage or very poor coverage, you should get in touch, and we'll help you work out where we go next, because we are trying not to go places next. Like, where will we roll out next? The point is, this is decentralized wireless. The community decides.
And by Scan to Earn, we learn a lot of, or Scan for Points, we've really got to change the name. But Scan for Points, we learn a lot. So we've got a bunch of people scanning right now, that's showing up data. And from that data, we've got an internal team that then maps out their data. Then we send out some people just to check that that area is where we want to. And then we start to advertise, get the hosts in that area. And we build like this. The more people scanning for points around the world, the more understanding we get of true problems where the Swiss cheese and rural connectivity exists.
Yeah.
And how does all of this integrate with the eSIM? So we had the eSIM launch a few weeks ago. Is it part of the master plan with OPAN?
Yes, we are going to launch sort of eSIM for OPAN. In fact, the eSIM that you are getting today, we will roll into being able to work on our coverage seamlessly. So eSIM, you just download it to your phone. Your phone then comes onto our service. And so we will be launching, or are launching, or have launched. I don't know which one of those is exactly true, but you will be able to get world mobile service in North America. And that will work nationally across the USA. And when you are in our coverage, we'll be on our coverage. And when you're in our partners' coverage, we'll be on partners' coverage. And that we will be your operator. Now, initially, we can do that on a try-to-buy basis, where you can put our SIM in as your second SIM, and then you can try it out and see how it's working. And then we can trade you up to being our primary customer. But it's a fully integrated service. We are a full operator in the USA.
Exciting times. So keen to get to the open AMA. Just a reminder that we will be opening the whitelist in the coming days. So if you've not already signed up to that whitelist, you can do it through the beta of the Aerostat sales platform. However, there is still a direct link at join.worldmobile.io for you to register directly if you don't want to go through the Aerostat sales platform journey. So moving to the open AMA, I think James Bowater, you've got your hand up, ready to ask a question. I'll bring you up to the stage.
Hey, how are you, everyone?
Good evening, JB.
Hello, sir. Very good evening to you all. Very, very nasty, wet London about to be. But anyway, listen, one question I've actually got is sparked by this super anode package at 2.5 million, which I can't quite write a check for at the moment. But what I was actually thinking was, is that going to be available to the community to do a collective purchase? I don't know, like maybe
Good,
two and a
good,
half
good,
thousand
good
units of a
question.
thousand.
Officially not by World Mobile currently, but the community could get together and work that out themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking the biggest example, but so, I mean, if there's a $10,000 piece of kit, if there was some sort of community pool package thing where when it hits 10,000, then they can afford to buy one, then they can place the order with World Mobile, couldn't they? And actually likewise with the Super Aerostat Super Duper thing. I'm just thinking out
Yeah, I mean, I think
thinking
there's a
out
lot of
loud, but it just
there's,
sounds like a really cool idea to
yeah,
me.
yeah. No, I think there's a lot of different ways that people are already planning and have, in effect to fund the nodes, whether it's a community, whether it's businesses. I think there's a lot of creative ways that people are already looking at.
Right.
So, from our point of view at the moment, it's key to get delivery and get the nodes rolling out, and then
Absolutely.
we'll see that creativity.
Yeah, I mean, I for one would love to. I'd love to get because obviously if something's out of your reach, it'd be wonderful to be participant in something like that. So I think it would be a very cool thing to be able to facilitate with even WMT tokens. So anyway, just the thought, and thank you for answering.
Thank you, James. Appreciate you. See you
Thanks,
soon.
James.
Next up, I think we've got the number one eSIM customer, Alex.
Good
Great
evening,
to see you
everyone.
again.
Afternoon.
Hey, Alex, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Thank you very much. Everything is good.
Awesome. Number one eSIM customer in 4 different countries, I guess. You can extend the title next time, Mike. I was browsing, of course, in the airnode.worldmobile.io website, and I saw the 100K Titan AirNode.
It's a beast.
That's the beast we're talking about.
This one's a beast. Yeah, this runs on band 71. Offers coverage for huge distances.
Okay.
And wherever there's not the CBRS units, whether that's the $8,000 ones or the $4,000 ones or the $2,000 ones that are down on the ground, it means that a user will not lose connection.
And what about the band 85A? That's in the technical spec sheet that I saw. Is it operating also in the 85A?
We'll be operating it in 71.
Okay, 71. Perfect. Thank you, guys.
More than welcome.
Next up, we've got, is it Lucas?
And
Hey, good
by
day,
the way,
guys. I'm
still up, I
curious.
guess. I need about $540,000 to purchase the nodes I need right now. So, making a master plan.
Beast. You are the Titan.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
Are you going to Dubai?
No, no.
What a shame.
I can't right now. You know why?
I'm very happy for why, but it's a shame. It's always good to see you.
In the next one, you got it there. In the next one.
Are you using your World Mobile SIM right now?
Absolutely. To be honest with you, it's better than the one we have here in Canada and cheaper. So it makes more sense for us to even switch our day-to-day network to World Mobile with the prices that we have in Canada.
Well, and it's also jumping between network rather than restricting it to one network. So because you've got the multi IMSI in there, you're able to always find connectivity.
Exactly, and for Greeks that are in this space, Greece was exactly the same. It doesn't make sense to be locked in a carrier, and the rough patches are way more than what we have in Canada. But it works fantastic in Greece.
I had somebody contact me from the community, though I will not name them just for privacy reasons, but they told me that when they're driving, they're in Europe and they're driving with the SIM. The difference was immense because they weren't just locked to one network. They were able to, as soon as they lost connectivity, hand over to the next network and the next network. And so, yeah, I'm operating from my SIM right now.
Yeah,
as well.
it's exactly the same for me.
Yeah, this is like an
Thanks.
advert. I owe you a Guinness, man.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Cheers, guys.
Take care.
Enjoy Dubai.
Thank you very much.
Lucas.
That's
He's ready
me. Shout out to another Alex, their fellow Canadian. I'm located in Europe as well, specifically between Germany and Switzerland. And I'm curious when becoming an air node operator may be possible in this part of the world.
It's an interesting question. Germany does have a prototype CBRS solution, which is we're watching evolve. I'm not sure about Switzerland, so it's obviously with the launch in the USA. I haven't spent a millisecond on thinking about a launch in anywhere in Europe. But a long time ago, we did review all of the different statuses, and Germany would certainly be one of the top countries to look at doing this next if one was going to do it in Europe, because they already have some spectrum and a sort of a legal framework.
In addition to that, we've got watchers on every European country and seeing what they're doing with spectrum. But the examples that are coming out of Africa and maybe other places that we're not naming right now are showing shared spectrum, right? Mobile network operators typically haven't really shared spectrum in the past. But what we're doing is we've got a movement where we're supporting, pushing, helping other spectrum owners that wouldn't be able to deploy their spectrum to actually deploy it. And many places around the world right now, including the US, including the African continent, multiple different countries, and including Europe, are starting to kick off. The regulators, the Director General, is starting to say, hold on, we've got all these patches and connectivity. You've got all of this spectrum that you're just holding down as an asset. You can't utilize it, use it, or lose it, right? They haven't made anybody, well, okay, they have. They've made smaller companies lose it, certainly in Africa. But now they're fining mobile network operators or spectrum holders that can't utilize their spectrum. So that feeds right into our game plan. So Europe is very much on the agenda. The UK, I think it was identified more than 50,000 not spots in the UK that Ofcom have offered to give spectrum to anybody that can fill those. But
yeah, I mean, don't
right.
forget we did do the UK installation in Wales, which was using shared spectrum. So we've already demonstrated the same capability in the UK, and yeah, in terms of priority.
That's right. There is spectrum sharing in the UK. It's not the best regulatory framework yet, but I think it will improve. And as soon as it improves, I think we'd be on for doing this in the UK, for example.
I don't think it's not years away. That's for sure.
Well, you could do it tomorrow.
Yeah,
I just
exactly.
But it would be limited to. It would be somewhat limited, and I think if the regulation gets broadened, and it may get broadened, then you could be able to do something much bigger.
As soon as remote ownership opens and the USA goes to plan like Zanzibar has and like Pakistan has, then, and as soon as we're comfortable with the first maybe 5 or 6 or 7 deployments, there's no reason that we won't bring in backhaul providers and use the same model, or ISPs and use the same model, or mobile network operators and use the same model. That's what we've built here. That's what we've been building for the last 2.5 years. When we're talking about fine-tuning the sharing economy, it's not just sitting there with a knob going up and down. It's or side to side. It's literally making a sharing economy work in multiple different ways. So in short, but in long, your answer is we think that 2024, we may be into a new continent, and that could easily be the European continent. But we're very focused right now on having remote owners own infrastructure and get the model right in the United States of America, driving revenue and showing that this is a very attractive business to be in, a multi-trillion-dollar business, and everyone can have their part.
That's great. Thanks for answering my question. I just have one follow-up comment, and then I'll step down. The last comment is I looked at pricing, and compared to providers in Germany and Switzerland, I think the pricing of your product could potentially hopefully be a little bit more competitive in the future. It's one reason why I haven't tested out the product here yet. But love what you guys are doing, and really supportive of your business, and looking forward to trying it out.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your comment on the pricing. The pricing actually is an international SIM, but as we plug more bilaterals in, and we're doing that every single day, pricing will come down. But of course, the real benefit in pricing is when you've got the infrastructure there, because then it's a whole new level of pricing that we can give. But of course, we don't want to give the prices too low, because you want the air node operators and the earth node operators making money as well. So there's a fine balance to make between coverage quality, privacy, and pricing.
Okay, next up, we've got Noah's Earth node. And then after that, we've got Clover. Noah's Earth node, you're up. How are you doing?
Hey, can everybody hear me?
Certainly
Yep,
can.
awesome. I will tell you that this is the first time in a very long time, for whatever reason, that I'm able to connect with you guys, and I'm always listening, and I always have questions, and I'm just so happy to be able to ask a question right now. So thank you for calling on me and taking the time. The first question I want to ask is with relation to the AirNode map. I'm on it right now. I'm looking in my area. I'm well aware that there's really no other operators in my area. But it does look like there's a hexagon per, street, or it looks like every single square foot of land is covered by one of these hexagons. And, my question is the goal my first question is the goal long-term to have an air node in every single hexagon?
Yeah, the answer is yes. But depending on the spectrum you've got, depends on the size of the hexagon. So if you click on the WMS, World Mobile Spectrum hexagon, it's much bigger.
Got it. And also, as far as the air nodes, the two versions of air nodes that I see that are, I think, 10 and 18,000 or something like that, American dollars, are those the only two air nodes that are going to be available in North America?
Not at all. They're the first two air nodes that are available here in the beta launch that will work in Reno. And then as remote ownership becomes available at the end of November, the beginning of December, then we would have already built our network, we believe, in Reno, as there's quite some pent-up demand. And then we can start to talk about filling in with other nodes, that Wi-Fi nodes that could cost $500, $1,000, and then other types of CBRS nodes that won't go as far. But if you want to build a network that will challenge the existing telecom companies and give a service to users that's unparalleled, then you've got to make sure that the core of your network, just like the Earth node, is creme de la creme. That's not to say that everybody won't have the ability to be a part of this sharing economy, whether it's marketing SIMs or buying a Wi-Fi indoor hotspot or a CBRS $1,500, $2,500, $3,000 unit. In the end, I expect there to be maybe 20 to 25 different units available, and then the operation air node to define what unit you should have for which place. And of course, as the network builds, there'll be need to add more units into those hexes, depending on the amount of people, the capacity that's needed there, or depending on a new building that goes up. So people will go past, air node operators will scan for points, hopefully daily, if not every other day, if not weekly. All that information will come back. We'll be paying for that information from the people that are scanning, and then we'll understand in real time almost what we need to do, which type of nodes we need to offer. But again, reiterate that everybody is going to have a chance as long as they've got $500 and above to be part of the sharing economy.
Okay, and just two quick follow-ups. The first one is, based upon what's available today, the area that I'm looking in, at least just at the moment, messing around with the map, and part of this one follow-up question is, are these are these two nodes that are available, are they meant for residential homes and areas, or are they more meant for commercial zoning, kind of?
What do you mean, to put them on the roofs or for the users?
Like, in other words, I'm in an area where there's a house every 20 feet. There's figure 4 to 6 people in a house. Is that an area where you'd want one of these more expensive nodes, or is that more something that a Wi-Fi?
No, that's the $8,000 node would then cover lots of those houses and lots of those people in those houses. And as those people, we've either made deals with their telecom companies, or we're in the process of making deals. Remember, we're a mobile network operator. We're not just a company deploying infrastructure. We're a full FCC registered mobile network operator that has the right to interconnect and roam, like every other mobile network operator does. So those built up urban areas, ideally you're going for the Swiss cheese, because they're the most sellable aspects to us and other mobile network operators. So if you put one down where there's bad connectivity in those areas where there's lots of people around, that's great. That's fantastic.
So the last
A Wi-Fi,
yeah, sorry, you go, you finish.
A Wi-Fi node isn't going to reach out to beyond one house,
Right?
But a CBRS node is far more powerful and can then reach out to maybe 20, 30 houses in a radius, and then connect a few hundred customers simultaneously from that CBRS node.
Okay.
It depends how much you want to. It depends how much you want to earn, essentially.
The last thing I wanted to ask you is, so there is a town. I live in Long Island, New York. There is a town. Just for my own purposes at the moment, I'm not going to say which town, but there's a town where there's just terrible service. We talk to our friends there. They constantly getting cut off. It's very frustrating. We have a pretty good idea of, where we want to put the first node, larger node. I guess the question is, could it go up, theoretically in the next 30 days? I mean, what is the process like from the point at which you decide you want to purchase an air node and get it rocking and rolling?
Right now, we're only allowing people to purchase air nodes in Reno on the beta. Before the end of November, we expect to have opened up Fix Your Own Problem, which is what I described at the beginning of the call. You recognize you've got a problem with your own home internet. You want to put a CBRS unit because you haven't got connectivity in your area. And we welcome that. We want to support people to do that. But if you want to make significant money and fast ROI, you want to be focused on areas where we're building out dense networks, and we'll very clearly highlight those and communicate where those areas are. But if you have recognized the problem and you see a problem and you can use Scan for Points, and then you come to us and say, hey, guys, there's a problem over here. We see 600 people are living in this area, or 400 people are living in this area. That's the partner program. So then we talk to you about the partner program. We talk to you about how we believe you should run the partner program, and we support you to build up a network in that area.
Got it. Hey, Micky, thanks so much for the time and the answers. I really appreciate it. And thanks to the whole team.
Thanks for all your support online. You're a legend. I see it all the time.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it.
Next up, we've got Cal, Clover Nodes. How you doing, friend?
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me on stage.
It's great to hear you again.
Cal.
Hello.
So awesome.
How are you?
Very good. I'm having an excellent day here. Just congratulations on this launch. Super excited about it. Map looks great. Everything looks great. But I do have a few questions here.
Yes, please.
Alrighty, first one, what's the expected returns? What's the ROI looking like for these big ones, the Titan ones, and the CBRS nodes?
It's as long as 3 years, and it's as short as 0.7, maybe even 0.6 of a year, 6 months, depending on how active you are with deployment and with making your local community aware that there's a new carrier in town that respects their privacy and gives them better coverage, right? With the bigger air nodes, it varies again, but as mobile grows and the network becomes more dense, more mobile network operators want to start paying to use the World Mobile Network for their users when there are users in our area. So there's always going to be a residual income coming in from wholesale traffic, whether that's national traffic or international traffic. So if you're at Disneyland, for example, there'll be quite a lot of residual income coming in from international traffic. But if you're in Reno, for example, where there's really bad connectivity from AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, there'll be a lot of income coming in from wholesale traffic once we have all of those deals signed and in place. And we'll announce when we have those deals, and air operators will see, because their earnings will start to grow rapidly. But in short, the answer is anywhere between 7 months and 3 years, maybe 3 and a bit years. 3 and a bit years if you just do nothing. 7 months if you're an active part of running your own telecom company.
Right. Thanks for answering. That's good. It's exciting. All right. Second question. Let's see. For the first batch of the 50 that you're going to release, do we need to have access to a property or a business in order to get involved, or will you guys be providing access?
Right now, you should be the owner, the operator and the host in these first 50. In the next batch, we believe remote ownership will be available, and you can sign up with any host. So we're working on that engine right now, finalizing it and making sure that it works properly. And then we'll release that, upgrade that to the non-beta version of Opan.
Got it. So I might have to fly to Reno, find a location now.
You might.
Yeah, or
find a friend.
And we've got a support team. So if anyone's got any ideas or have any requests, or we're there to support that and facilitate everything as good as we can, with as much support as we possibly can. And we're very loyal to our community, and we respect you a lot. So if anyone has any questions, or they're not on the whitelist, they are on the whitelist. We're pretty sure these first 50 are going to go quickly, and then the next lot, we're looking forward to anybody being able to participate.
Awesome. And last question here. What's the hex fee and the node fee about?
Embargoed. You'll get it all in documentation over the next couple of weeks. But it's essentially you're paying for a license for the node, and you're paying for a license for the hex. The hex is a very minimal license that's annual or paid for 3 years. And the node fee is something that will be the license that will then be generated and split between Earth nodes and World Mobile.
Okay. Alrighty. Well,
What should be noted as well, though, the first few batches, maybe, and don't hold me to it, but maybe even potentially the first year hex fee will be waived, and node fee will be waived for a certain amount of nodes, maybe up to 1,000 or 2,000 nodes. But again, embargoed. I'm already getting DMs from Mr. Embargo telling me not to say anything, because we've got a blog post ready in the next week or two that will outline all of this.
Sorry, Mike. That's funny. All right, well, yeah, that's all my questions. Again, congratulations, guys. I'm looking forward to your partner program as well. Actually, for I want to get involved with the eSIMs. I have a few people right here in LA that own liquor stores, and I have good ideas with the eSIMs and all of that. So yeah, and also have fun in Dubai, by the way, for whoever's going from the team.
Thank you very much, Clover. Say hi to your dad.
Will do. Thank you.
Clover OG.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Next up, we've got Khan Faisal. Just wait for Khan to come up. And yes, while some of those details are under embargo, as Micky said, we've got lots of information and updates planned over the next few days and weeks. So excited to share all of the nuts and bolts around the NO Sales platform launch and how it works and how you can get involved. Khan, you are up. How's it going? You're on mute. I think maybe you're still connecting.
Yes.
Here we go. Oh, we lost you there. You're back on mute. And then after Khan, we've got Madball. Give him another 10. Yeah, Madball, let's go to you. How are you doing?
Great day. I'm all right, man. All is well. Right. I hope all is well with you as well.
Hey, Madball.
Hey.
All good.
Okay, so I heard you say something that we have to secure the land as well.
You don't have to secure the land as well. If you want to be in Reno right now on this beta, you should own or secure the land. But the matching engine that will come out in the non-beta version, so when we go live, V1, will then be able to have anybody sign up as a host and anybody sign up as a remote operator. Remote operator pays for the infrastructure and pays for the installation. Hosts it in their house or their building or whatever they have. And power it and provide internet to it.
I see one of these nodes, these hexes say 100,000 for one of these nodes in the beta.
Correct.
So correct. I would have to go out there and secure the land too as well, right?
In the version 2 that comes out, or V1 that comes out after the open beta, then you will be able to match with a host. So if somebody's there and the hex is a color that says host is available in this hex, you can then just jump online, speak to them, and arrange it yourself. And then you buy, it gets shipped to their house, and off you go. So
just to be clear, you said 100,000. That's some of the nodes, but others are 9.5. Yeah.
Okay, I got you. It's lighter. I understand you can get on later and not have to deal with the beta and all the requirements. I understand that.
But if you want to sign up as a host, or you can find hosts, that's also part of the partner program too. So if you can bring hosts to the table, and you find someone that has 20 hotels around the United States of America or in Nevada, and you bring them to the table, you're going to earn from that as well. So people can sign up as a host, or people can be a partner program or an affiliate to bring hosts to the table.
I understand. Okay. Well, now I've been watching the node activities, the air node activities in these different countries, so on and so forth, aside from the beta. And they generate in a certain amount. How much do you have, like a price prediction or a revenue prediction on what these in the beta spectrum are going to generate?
We have a very detailed unit economics analysis that's made up from not just our assumptions, but also industry figures and what we're seeing. And then we're going to put a calculator on Operation Air Nodes that will give an idea to anybody how quickly in your area, in that particular zone, with that particular population density, we expect, or you should expect, to make back your money. And then you'll start to see, you're making $700 a month, or you're making $1,800 a month, or you're making $200 a month. Depends where the Swiss cheese is, where the dense networks are, where we recommend to deploy from the information from Scan for Points is going to be the best result for everybody who wants to put down. So as long as you're watching, as long as you're alert, as long as you see these drops happening, and then you're part of that, it's easy.
So you don't have the calculator right now?
We don't have a calculator today, but there will be in the V1 version that comes out, our beta.
With the beta.
But we're very happy to put out a blog post explaining the logic behind it.
Yeah, because I'm looking at this $100,000 one. And not saying I'm going to grab it right off break, but I might consider it, given that I got the information as far as what it's going to generate.
Again, it's anywhere between 7 months to 3 point something years, 3 years, right? That's what we expect. 7 months. 7 months is obviously if you put in the work around that node, and say that you were to. You in the package, you get 100 eSIMs that you can pass on to somebody else to be part of the national subscriber package, right? Yeah. If you sell all 100 of those, you're much closer to 1.8 years as an example, or 1.4 years. It depends on the population density, so you can't quote me on there, but the calculator will help you to understand that. But if you sell 130, the the unit economics is very sensitive. So all of a sudden, it doesn't become 3 months less or 4 months less. It becomes considerably less, down to 0.7 of a month, 0.7 months of the year or 8 months of the year to bring it back. Remember, we're running a sharing economy here. It's not just if you want the passive income part and you want a good ROI, which is 2.5, 3 years, 3.5 years, you don't really have to do much. You just put it in a zone that we do. Make sure you operate it. Make sure you're checking in, logging in, speaking to the host, keeping the relationship, the business relationship between you two or the multiple parties good. But if you actually want to run this as a business and make a lot of revenue from the biggest telecom market in the world, which is the USA, then you should be a part of that. And if you're a part of that, then you'll put one node up, you'll make your money back in 7 months, you'll put another node up, and all of a sudden you're earning beyond your expectations.
Beyond my expectations. Okay, that's what I like to hear.
It's telecom.
I appreciate
It's telecom. People connect, people use, people pay. Simple. If you've got the
For sure.
coverage, you have a network that is strong in areas where there's lots of this holes and connectivity, the Swiss cheese, or you're deploying in a rural area in Aerostat. If everyone's connecting to you, you're making money. Simple.
Yes. Okay. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, Matt Bull.